The San Francisco Police Department announced on Sunday they are investigating a suspicious death of a 16-year-old girl.
The police department responded to the 600 block of Mina Street to help paramedics with a possible overdose. When they arrived, they declared the victim, a 16-year-old female, deceased. The San Francisco County Medical Examiner declared the death suspicious. The SFPD homicide detail are leading the investigation. No arrests have been made, and the investigation is open. The location of her death was just blocks away from the Tenderloin District. The district houses San Francisco's safe injection site, but it is also known to be filled with drug dealers, addicts, and homeless individuals.
The Supreme Court will not intervene in the case of a high school student who claims her school's COVID-19 vaccine mandate discriminates against her. The San Diego Unified School District is one of the few districts in the U.S. that requires children to receive the vaccine with no religious exemption allowed. The student filing the application has recovered from an earlier COVID-19 infection. Her court application says it's against her religious beliefs to get the vaccine. Lower courts have gone back and forth in their decisions on the constitutionality of the district's mandate. Almost 2 months after, a law firm filed an emergency application to the Supreme Court. The full court denied it, following a change in direction from the school district. The school board voted earlier this month against implementing the vaccine mandate until the fall 2022 semester, at the earliest. The Supreme Court's decision potentially leaves the door open for future action. The Attorney General announced the results of a recent operation in Los Angeles County to remove firearms and ammunition from individuals who are not legally allowed to have them.
Attorney General Rob Bonta announced a firearms sweep targeting individuals listed in the California Department of Justice's Armed and Prohibited Persons System, or APPS, as no longer legally allowed to own or possess firearms and ammunition.
Across the state, DOJ agents and local law enforcement use apps to cross-reference firearm owners against criminal history records, mental health records, and restraining orders so we can prevent those individuals from owning and possessing guns.
Several authorities worked together during a 5-day sweep that targeted individuals listed as prohibited from possessing firearms in 51 cities in Los Angeles County. They made 13 arrests, as well as the seizure of 114 firearms, including assault weapons, ghost guns, lower receivers, handguns, rifles, and shotguns, as well as over 49,000 rounds of ammunition and 87 high-capacity magazines. The operation in Los Angeles follows an APPS sweep in January in the Bay Area that resulted in the seizure of 30 firearms and 8 arrests. In 2006, the state of California became the first and only state in the nation to establish a system for tracking firearm owners who fall into a prohibited status.
The Port of Los Angeles reported the busiest January in its 115-year history. Though exports are still low, the port is expecting to have more work ahead in the coming months.
The Port of Los Angeles is expecting a busy summer shipping season as retailers restock depleted inventory, the port's director said.
Quarter two, more commonly, is known as our slack season in the Trans-Pacific trade. But as I've mentioned, retailers continue to tell us that they're going to focus that time in quarter two on replenishing these inventory levels. And that gives us a chance to keep this caravan of cargo moving. While a lower number of ships from Asian manufacturers came in during the Lunar New Year, the port says it saw its busiest January since it opened. Soroka said the port processed nearly 900,000 containers last month, a 3.6% increase over last year. Nearly half of the ships serviced last month were not the standard large container ships, but smaller ones hired by retailers. They carry less cargo, but require the same amount of time, Soroka said. 24 of those 87 vessels were ad hoc or unscheduled. So what's been added into the mix is a combination of smaller ships that have been not part of our traditional weekly services. Empty containers also piled up, with 64,000 unused boxes now at the port. We're monitoring our empty counts daily, and we're looking for even more progress in this area. At the same time, exports are down. Meanwhile, exports continue their abominable slide, showing a nearly 16% decline year on year.
The port is exploring ways to aggregate and streamline exports and encourage more rail shipping. They are also looking at identifying terminals for fast lane concepts for dairy and agricultural products.
For a few weeks, beekeepers rent out truckloads of honeybees to farmers to pollinate crops. But due to beehive thefts, beekeepers are turning to technology to protect their precious colonies. NTD's Andrew Thomas reports.
The past few weeks, more than 300 hives were reported stolen in the San Joaquin Valley, loot that's worth tens of thousands of dollars.
Sadly, people have gotten more into theft because the business and the industry has grown so much, and people think they can make a quick, easy buck by stealing hives and putting them into pollination.
Close to 400 more vanished from a field in Mendocino County, prompting the state's Beekeeper Association to offer a $10,000 reward. A few days later, authorities recovered the boxes of bees 20 miles away. One suspect was arrested.
Sadly, beekeepers are the only people stealing bees from other beekeepers. You have to have specialized equipment. It's not something that's a random act. It's very calculated.
So some beekeepers are starting to equip hive boxes with GPS-enabled sensors. Others are tagging their boxes with clear liquid only visible under UV light.
It's very difficult for professional beekeepers like us to keep our hives alive, and it's become increasingly difficult, which makes the theft even more catastrophic to our industry. I mean, it takes us over a year to build a healthy hive, and so when it's stolen from us, it's not something we can easily replace.
The supply of bees has been dropping, and the cost to rent a hive of the essential pollinators has soared, jumping from about $40 per hive 2 decades ago to as much as $230 per hive this year, likely motivators for the thefts. The insects are essential for pollinating food crops and keeping agriculture healthy. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
Every year, crowds of people travel to Yosemite to see a unique firefall. The horsetail fall can glow orange when it's backlit by the sun. Crowds of sightseers and photographers flock to Yosemite National Park this time of the year to witness this rare firefall. The phenomenon occurs when the sunlight hits the waterfall at the right time and creates the illusion of a glowing waterfall over the eastern edge of El Capitan Rock. It occurs for 2 weeks in mid to late February. Some people arrive 5 hours early just to catch the rare sighting. What are the chances of the day, month, and year having the same digits? What about the chances of it landing on the day that sounds like it, like Tuesday? Some people are making that day extra memorable. This is the San Mateo County Clerk's Office, and the date is February 22nd, 2022. It's a special date, and some couples are making it more memorable by choosing to get married. Several county clerk's offices in the Bay Area extended their office hours for couples getting married on this date. It's a palindrome when the digits read the same forwards and backwards, which makes it easy to remember.
You know, lots of TV shows, there's always a problem with the husband forgetting the date. Now I don't have an excuse because 222, that'll be ingrained in my memory.
We didn't think of like, oh, let's have to get married on this day. But we thought that, oh, we look it up actually just a couple weeks ago, and then it's available here. And we thought, oh, let's book an appointment first.
This couple just got their wedding license and certificate. Chen says her lucky number is 2, and they plan to have their wedding ceremony on Friday, which is also Chen's birthday.
Whether it's, the highs of life or even the lowest lows, that you have someone that you can share those things with and will be there with you no matter what.
I'm not scared anymore. So truly, I'm not scared to do this commitment. It's just on paper. I know that what our commitment is more solidified through our words and actions, but to actually make this official is very important to me.
During COVID, we had a major transformation here in that we couldn't marry people inside the building because of COVID restrictions. So we developed this new technology, which is called web-based marriages, and our IT department put together an application where people could actually get married online.
The clerk's office told NTD that they usually hold 4 to 5 weddings per day, but on days like Valentine's and today, it can go up to 20.
You now have a partner with you that's going to share life's experiences. You now transformed yourself from an individual to a couple. a couple that is going to share the future, a couple that is going to have plans.
The rest of the month also consists of palindrome dates. Irizarry says February 22nd is what's called an auspicious day. He says, according to folklore, it brings happiness, health, and longevity for those who get married. David Lamb, NTD News, California.